the work with you, Tamala, touches on every single aspect of your life. So it's not like you have to go to a massage therapist and a mental health counselor's therapist and all of these different people. It's like what you offer, it's so much all in one. And because it addresses so many different aspects of an individual's life experience.
If you can kind of tell people who you are, what you do for a living, how they can connect with you, and all that good stuff.
Okay, my name is Dr. Deb Barnett, and I'm a psychologist and a coach, and I help women and some men enjoy working with me as well. And I help people really step into what their truth is and their unique contribution that they want to bring to the world so that they can express that with clarity and confidence.
That's
And
amazing.
my website is drdebbarnett.com.
Yes. And she is amazing at what she does. So you and I have worked together for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And do you remember our first experience that was really like a big aha for you?
Yes. So my first experience with you was the um, Akashic Records reading, and I did it in the 5-hour experience version, which was so profound. And I reached out to you when two friends who I respect very much at the same time or within days, both of them mentioned you and your work in their newsletters that they were sending out via email. And so I thought, okay, the universe is saying, pay attention. And so I decided to pay attention and reach out to you and see if I could work with you.
Wonderful. So you did the initial Akashic record reading.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about that? Do you remember your intention? Do you remember how you felt during the session or what happened for you afterwards?
Yeah, at the time I I can't remember specifically my wording around my attention. It was probably around, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Or because I was going through a huge struggle in my life personally at the time. I had recently been diagnosed with breast cancer, and that was devastating just because it didn't make sense on any um, sort of physiological, rational reasoning, meaning based assessment because I had tried to be so healthy my entire life. So I was spinning and reeling in this doesn't make sense. And then on top of that, shortly after the diagnosis, I went through this estrangement from my family, which was probably equally, if not even more devastating than the cancer. So it was like double whammy back to back. So I was reeling and just trying to make some meaning out of all of this and what was happening to me. Why was this going on? So I was, I almost would say I was in a place of desperation at the time of just wanting some support and clarity because I felt like I had no foundation, like everything had been crumbling around me. So yeah, that was why I reached out, and I didn't really have any expectations per se of what I expected, what I thought would happen. I was pretty open-minded going into it. but I remember that I was blown away by the experience. It was so profound and so unlike anything I had ever experienced or tried before. And I've tried a lot. I've done a lot, having, grown up in a very open-minded, holistic, done Reiki and all different types of energy work, body work, intuitive guidance, and this was unlike anything I'd experienced before, like I said. So the level of depth of the information that you were able to tap into and the detail, it was just mind-blowing. And the first immediate thing I noticed directly after the session was this depression lifted from me, as if there had been this cloud I had been swimming in and living in, and it was so heavy and thick that I didn't even really recognize or notice it was there until after the session, and then it just lifted, and I felt like, whoa,
Yeah.
I could see everything more clearly. My um, everything was more vivid and sharp, and my senses seemed more clear and acute.
Yeah.
It was dramatic.
Yeah. And so did that then give you an opportunity to make different choices around what you were experiencing?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things was to choose to stop blaming myself or putting myself down and thinking maybe I'm being punished. Maybe I did something really wrong in a past life, and that's why. But I realized so many of the issues, quote unquote, that I had in my life were not just little issues that I was dealing with. As you helped me to see, like these are patterns that have been going on lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And it put into perspective why I was having challenges with certain people in my life, and that we had done some of these circles and patterns so many times. And so, one, it was really exciting to have the opportunity to clear a lot of those, but it also shifted my relationship, and I had more compassion with myself and more compassion with others. So, I had a lot more patience, and I was able to let go a little bit more and trust and not have to struggle and allow things to unfold and begin the healing process, which, of course, with my own body was not immediately, nor with my relationships, but it definitely started everything um, in this path of healing so that it all could clear up, so that I was able to heal from the cancer and heal my relationships with my family members and reconnect with them. So it was, yes, very dramatic
Wow.
on multiple levels.
And so you have a new relationship with your body now and also a new relationship with your family.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. So do you know how many Akashic record layers you've done? Have you just done one or have you done more than one?
I think I've done, after that initial one, what is it? I've done at 5, 6, something around there,
Yeah.
several layers after that. Yeah, I'm definitely a Tamala Malay groupie. Like I've done almost many of the programs and offerings. And the next level, the next layer readings are always just equally enlightening. Like, wow, that there's more that can always be cleared. And with each session, each clearing, it gets lighter, and I feel I get brighter and more confident and much more comfortable speaking up and creating amazing things in my life. with my divine truth and my divine creation. And so, and that's manifested in all different ways in terms of how I'm speaking in my relationships professionally, more confident speaking with my clients, more confident offering what I'm offering. My income in terms of my psychology business just has exploded, you know, and that was one of the things you shared with me, you know, that this will help your finances. And I was like, how is that going to happen? You know, and even without like efforting at it, it's true. Like my finances have improved so dramatically, really without doing anything on a 3D level that noticeably different.
Yeah. Other than just aligning, right?
Exactly. I mean, internally, yeah, a lot of work has been done on the energetic level. Tons of work has been done, but it's not like I invested a lot in marketing or anything like that.
Right, right. And that's
Yeah.
that's a huge thing to identify and be clear with people is most of the stuff that we have to do, it's all internal work. It's personal. It's about us.
Yeah.
And so if we're seeing misalignments outside of us in our experience, we don't need to be looking for what outside of us is wrong.
Right. No finger pointing.
Right. It's okay, where am I out of sorts?
Yeah.
And, you know, are there blocks here? Are there restrictions here? Are there beliefs or illusions or vows or contracts? Are there, you know, what is it that has me kind of out of sorts? And I know that you also have been doing the Living a Congruent Life training since we began.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you have any thoughts or anything that you would share with anyone about that?
Yeah, that's been wonderful in terms of having the regular, consistent support of checking in with you and the guides. And it's always a treat to see who shows up for the guidance each month. That's just been delightful and so profound. But in terms of staying conscious and present with the work that needs to be done on the collective level and in terms of as the individual, what's my contribution to that and how am I showing up? Am I in alignment? Am I in integrity? It's so helpful because it's easy. I know I have done this so many times. I take a class or take a course and then whoosh, you know, it sort of goes in one ear out the other because the next thing is in front of me and, you know, the next shiny object. So staying tapped in and connected to the work and um, that the consistency of that and the community, like really being seen and known by you is so helpful and the comfort level that has built and the trust so that I can really be completely honest and vulnerable and know that it's a safe space. All of me is welcome. That's so tremendously helpful. And like I said, just the consistency of the Living the Congruent Life um, program has been tremendously valuable.
Yeah, yeah. And I've noticed that the folks that are in that class that have had the initial, at least the initial Akashic record work, and then have been in the Living a Congruent Life training, their leaps in their ability to be aligned and to evolve or up level
Hmm.
are drastically different because of that ongoing consistent support.
Right,
And,
right.
yeah, and it's really, you know, affordable in
Oh my
relation
goodness,
to
yes.
having to do an initial reading. You know, it's a big investment. Do
Hmm.
that. It's an investment in time, it's an investment in resources, it's an investment in your own work because you get 21 days of homework to do afterwards. And it's a commitment to yourself. And would you tell people, what would you tell them about that investment?
I would tell them, you know, this is this is your life that we're talking about. And really, there's nothing more precious and worthwhile investing in, because really the work with you, Tamala, touches on every single aspect of your life. So it's not like you have to go to a massage therapist and a mental health counselor's therapist and all of these different people. It's like what you offer, it's so much all in one. And because it addresses so many different aspects um, of an individual's life experience. But if you think about it, none of us really experiences success alone. It's not a single lone journey that any of us take when we really want to make the big leaps, when we really want to up level. That takes support and it takes a team. So how I viewed it and continue to is that I invest in you and all of the guidance from non-physical, and that's, you can't put a price tag on that. And it's really creating this support system, this team that's helping me to grow and evolve and see my blind spots, see when shadow is coming up, what that is, and be able to look at that within myself with compassion so that I can integrate it. And it's there. If I would tell anybody who's considering it, it's one of the best investments that you'll ever make in yourself, because it continues to unfold and you continue to evolve and grow and learn from the experience. So you are precious and worthwhile, and this is a tremendous gift that you can give yourself.
Yeah. And it's doable.
It is.
It's doable. You really do have resources available to you to help you clear out these patterns, to help you learn how to make different choices, to help keep you on target for your own targets. Because, you know, it's never about, you know, what does Tamala think or what do the guides think even. It's about what do you want? Where do you want to be? And how you can choose to do that on purpose in a really empowering way.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so one of the areas in which you've been really helpful to me is around relationships in my life and the significant primary relationships in my life. Like I said, with my family, that was really challenging for me, and so supportive as I was going through that period of not being in contact or communication with them. And then specifically as well in terms of reconnecting, because it's not just like you decide after not speaking to family members one day to pick up the phone and say, hey, okay, let's do this now. No. So you were really helpful for me in terms of helping me prepare to reconnect with my family, especially around my mother specifically, um, and helping her as well. And so it made that reconnection so harmonious and so smooth in a beautiful, I would say almost miraculous way. And another significant relationship was when I left my marriage, and which was real, of course, very challenging and devastating. But in terms of helping me put it into context about why it was happening in my soul's journey and his soul's journey, it giving it meaning and understanding from that broader perspective was so soothing. I was able to let go of guilt a lot more easily. Not that it didn't and still at times does creep back in, but then I can reset. I was like, okay, tap back into truth. Don't go into your mind, Deb, come back into this truth. And that was so helpful. So um, it was, even though challenging at times in terms of overall the ease with which I went through the separation has been so much easier than it could have been. So, yeah, it's been tremendously helpful in terms of helping me navigate really challenging situations with primary relationships in my life.
Mhm. And so I know that you've learned a great deal from the clearing work to the support, the monthly living a congruent life training. Have you been taking any of that into the work that you do in serving others as far as the mental and emotional discipline or the way that we have energetic integrity and our unity consciousness that we're moving towards and understanding how all of this really works together?
Yeah, it's been really helpful because um, so many people feel that, the challenges that are going on in the world, it's hard not to take it personally at times and not to allow it to throw them off. And so sometimes just saying to people, from a broader perspective, if this is an energetic up level that we're all going through as a collective and individually, what if we look at it from this perspective? How does that shift things for you? And does having that perspective make it a little bit easier to tolerate and to bring some comfort and even some celebration, like, wow, we get to go through this, and wow, we are at this time um, in history and for the um, evolution of ourselves and the planet. Like, this is really an exciting time if we can look at it from a broad perspective. And I think that's been very soothing for people and very helpful. And it's fascinating that sometimes when I just offer that perspective, people then really open up and share with me from a much deeper and more intimate level. And I think they feel, oh wow, I can share with you these concerns I have, and I'm not so weird that I think in this way. And so it's been really lovely just to and I think it also, because when I share with them from that perspective, they sense there's something a little bit different about me. And so then they're like, oh, okay, that's why you say those things or do those things or, think in that way. So it's helped in terms of building trust and rapport with people as well.
Right.
And thus helps in their healing journey.
Hmm. And so I know that you've actually referred folks to have the work and to join either the trainings or do the clearing work.
I have,
And
yes.
when you see them return, right? If maybe they come and they have the initial Akashic record reading, and you interact with them after, have you noticed changes in them?
Yes, and a few clients specifically, it gives us the context so that the work I can do with them can go to an even deeper level, because I can say, like, okay, remember the work that you did with Tamala, and this is what you found out, this is what you learned. Like, do you think this relates, what you're going through now relates to that? And they'll go, oh yeah, it's like the puzzle pieces start clicking into place. Um, and then the work with them can I just go a lot more rapidly, because we can go to that level. We can address issues at a deeper level instead of from a more cognitive behavioral level, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it has its limitations at times. And when I can move with people at this deeper energetic level, we can move through a lot on a very quickly. So I've, yes, seen huge shifts in people, clients, and one of my dear friends who's worked with you and is now in one of the certification trainings, and just a night and day difference in her, in terms of her confidence and connection with herself. It's really beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah. And so the options that spirit gives with this work is just phenomenal. Um,
Truly.
and it's all about us as individuals.
Hmm.
And that's what makes it super profound, is when we have, as practitioners, do the work ourselves and we understand the context, and then we have our clients who have done the work, and being able to language that and use that together. You're right, you can go deep and to the point and to the root really super fast, resolve it, and then move on to the next thing. It's
Right.
not 9 months of therapy to get
Exactly.
there. Right,
Yeah.
happen in just a couple of sessions, really pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that, because I've seen that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I was just going to share that one of the clients who's worked with you, who also works with me, is now, instead of it being more of a psychotherapy relationship that I have with her, really, I'm just acting in a spiritual mentoring relationship with her, because she has so many tools now that she can utilize,
mhm.
that she can do a lot of the work on her own. And then I just reflect back to her what I see and give her some suggestions and intuitively what comes to me. Um, it's really lovely. It makes my work a lot easier.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of gives you an added element to your business,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
An extra methodology or process where you can support your clients who, and even clients who may not want the psychotherapy part, or
Right.
but do want the spiritual support.
Hmm.
It really opens up our businesses, it opens up our relationships, it opens up our finances, like you said.
Yeah.
It really changes our ability and how we show up in the world. So, have you noticed how you show up in the world being different? Are you more confident, or you're more self-expressive? Do you find yourself being more authentic?
Yes, I would say all of the above. I'm much more confident in terms of speaking my truth, saying what I need to say, interacting with, whether it's family members, friends, sticky situations with clients that will pop up, um, even in terms of like asking for money that I'm owed. I've been really working on cleaning up that, and it's easy. That used to be a scary thing for me, and it's much easier. And people have really commented that they notice my presence, that it's very impactful for them and supportive and grounding, and um, that even so much as to say that just my presence alone has a healing, beneficial energy to it, that actually at this point, often I don't even need to say anything, but just by sitting with a person, whether it's in person or even over Zoom online, that just my presence alone now has benefit. Um, and that's pretty profound.
It's remarkable. It really is. And that's a huge indicator of the vibrational shift,
Hmm.
right? Not just a mental or emotional, but it's like it's a new amplification of your vibrational integrity. And you become part of the solution, no matter where you are, what's happening. Just because you're there, you're now part of the solution.
Hmm.
And it's an indicator that you've done a tremendous amount of work. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
We all need that on the planet right now. So, if you were going to, and you do, refer people to this work, what's some of the things that you tell them that they might be able to expect, or reasons why they might want to do the work?
Um, the people I have referred, often they have questions that it's um, they have been chewing on, for lack of a better word, for a while, and that just they doesn't make sense, or they want a bigger, broader perspective on them. And I say, you really might want to go do some work with Tamla, because it's going to give you this broader perspective, and so many things will click into place. And it's so supportive and so soothing and non-judgmental. It's your work is so non-judgmental that I think that's reassuring to people. That's not scary. They're not going to find out something that's really uncomfortable. So that's often why. And then they come back to me and they say, "Oh, wow, that was really profound, unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. Thank you."
That's wonderful.
And yeah, and then the journey just continues from there, right? That's only the beginning.
Right, right. But it's a huge indicator. For me, I know it's a huge indicator about how committed people are about changing their lives.
Mhm.
Are they actually willing to do this work, to make the time to have, this first session, whether we do it in one 5-hour session or 2.5-hour sessions? Are they willing to invest in actually getting the homework completed over the
Right,
21 days?
right.
How committed are they to really changing their experience? Because everybody's in a different place, right? We have some people who say they want to change, but they're not really ready to do any work, right? They're not that uncomfortable yet.
Yes.
And then, of course, and we've all been in these stages and maybe we're uncomfortable and now we just want to complain about it, right? Just rah,
Mhm.
rah, 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 but we're still not ready to do anything. And then at some point, it gets loud enough, it gets uncomfortable enough, it gets painful enough that we're like, okay, I'm ready to do what it takes to make the change.
Right.
And then once we're in that state, not only does this work, but all of the universe, all of the beneficial energies that are around you are able to get to you what it is you need to
Mhm.
complete the work, to up level, to release what no longer serves you, and so forth. And the one of the best things that I appreciate about the work is that we find out that we're never alone,
Yes.
that we have
Yes.
all of these resources that are available to us through tools, through spirit helpers, through alignment, through universal laws, through just our own authenticity.
Mhm.
And in doing our authenticity, which can be the hardest work we've ever done, ever, but it's also the only work that matters
Yes.
because nothing else is going to work for us if we're
Right. It's
not aligned.
just going to create more blockages and frustration.
Right, right. More chaos and more
Yeah.
desperation and more complicated relationships and more lack and, all of those things that we already have that we don't want to have anymore.
Mhm.
And so that alignment work is just so purifying. It's so integrous. It is challenging at times because we have our mental and emotional patterns, our go-to self-sabotages, right? And having to reprogram ourselves is one of the most loving things I think we can ever do for ourselves.
Very true.
It's really, really loving ourselves enough to stop with the bull and just really shift into, okay, I am a divine soul. This is my superpower, my soul purpose. I'm choosing to align with this, and anything that's not this, I don't want in my experience anymore.
Mhm.
And then repeating that 1,000 times a day until until it is only 500 times a day, and then 100 times a day, and then 50, and then 3.
Right.
Right? But I don't think we ever get to the point where we never have to say that anymore. Maybe we
No.
do, but I'm not there yet. I'm still a 2 or 3 times a day kind of person. Nope,
Yes.
nope, that is not me. Not having it.
Very true.
Yeah. So, what would you say would be, if someone was coming maybe with a relationship issue, right? And it was a pattern of behavior that they'd seen. Which of the types of sessions would you recommend first? The initial Akashic record reading, a one-on-one 1 hour session, the living a congruent life training. I know you've done a divine soul circle workshop as well.
Mhm.
Where would you encourage people to go first?
Well, I think the initial Akashic Records reading for, especially if it's, a significant relationship in your life that you'd like to get a broader perspective on, that initial Akashic Records reading is so helpful because you can see the pattern of the lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, often how it's showing up and why it's been showing up, and getting that clarity and making a commitment and doing the homework to release and shift that pattern is so tremendous. I think often people can get frustrated because they think that person needs to change in order for this situation to be better, and that really can be give a sense of hopelessness because you're like, how when are they ever going to change, when are they ever going to stop doing this thing, and you realize, like, wow, they don't actually need to. If I do my work and I shift and I clear what I can on my end, it's either, you know things will shift with them or will, vibrate out of each other's experience, and either's fine.
Yeah.
That something better is on the other side, no matter which is the best way for things to evolve in. And so that's tremendously helpful. And then, having the one-on-one empowerment sessions, which I've done with you many times, especially around specific sticky relationship situations, has been so grounding and reaffirming when I would start to spin out over little, situations. It gets me, those 1 hour empowerment sessions get me back on track, like
Mhm.
really super fast.
They
I'm
can
like,
just drop you
okay,
back into.
yeah, I'm back, we can do this.
Yeah, yeah, and we need that,
Yeah,
because we're still human.
so very human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and human things happen, and that's why we get to support each other.
Yeah, and to realize that, I'm not bad, I'm not broken, I am human, and this is natural why this is happening and why this can trip me up. And oh yeah, and so yeah, um it's very helpful. Gets me out of my own way.
Yes, because we're our biggest stumbling blocks.
Mhm.
We're the problem. And so the more that we can love ourselves through those problems, the better it can become. And the support is so important. One of the hardest lessons I've had to learn was
Mhm.
to receive support was difficult. I mean, look, I'm kind of even getting a little emotional about it because being in a safe space to be able to process and experience these past life patterns, these current life patterns, these experiences of disempowerment or fear or expectations, and be in that non-judgmental space where we're literally held, where everything is okay,
Right.
I think is one of the most sacred parts of the work.
Hmm.
Is that there's nothing ever that's wrong.
Yes, there's no judgment.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think that's a rare experience that many people have, is having a safe space where they can be 100% clear and trust that there isn't any judgment and that everything is for their highest good. That's a beautiful and rare gift.
Yeah, I agree. And it comes 100% from spirit,
Hmm.
because they never judge us about any of this. They're neutral. And that's the thing I think that surprises a lot of people is when we're in the Akashic Records, everything's neutral. When I'm channeling spirit, everything's neutral. They're just giving us, this is what it is. And then you
Hmm.
get to decide what you want to do with it. And they don't really care which way you're going to choose. They'll encourage you whichever way you're going to choose, be congruent with it, right?
Right.
Because otherwise you're going to create more chaos. But the lack of judgment is huge in also helping us learn how to heal our own stuff, because we have to have that lack of judgment for ourselves.
Hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you would like to share with folks?
I would just like to say that if you're considering working with Tamala and are ready to up-level your life, that not to wait, to go ahead and do it, reach out, get the support, because there's no reason to delay or prolong the feeling you might be in of being stuck or being frustrated, or maybe even feeling a bit hopeless that things will ever shift. It is such a relief to have a session and work with you, Tamala, and get that broader perspective, that I would encourage anyone to just go ahead and do it. You know, even if there's a little bit of hesitancy, take that leap, trust that you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be finding out about this work if you weren't ready for it. So just to trust that and say yes to yourself. It's a tremendous gift that you will never regret.
Amen. Thank you. And so, what I'd like to do is, I would like to offer um, a blessing for you and for all those that are listening, if you don't mind.
Certainly.
This is
Thank
one of the
you.
things that Deb's energy brings forward in me through the guides, is the ability to bless. So this is a direct reflection of Deb and her energy. So.
Mhm.
So, beings of light, thank you for your generosity in spending your time with us today, in offering the opportunity to listen, to hear, to receive the options that are available to you, to release, to clear, to unbuckle yourselves from any trauma, drama, exasperations, unfulfillments that are in your experience. And so, in so doing, we'd like to offer you this toning that will allow you to shift your vibration instantly. So, you can actually record this part on your phone if you like and listen to it anytime. It will allow you to shift your vibration into clarity, You can listen to that at any time, day or night. It could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now. And that resonance will immediately shift your vibration energetically, mentally, emotionally, physically, so that you can drop into clarity, so that you'll be able to be at a point of making decisions that are most aligned for you and your highest good. You are blessed beyond measure. You are loved more than you can ever know. Peace surrounds you on all sides. And you can be and do and have anything that your heart and soul desires. For you are a powerful, divine being. And we love you very much.